What is going on, guys? Today we are going to be looking at the best defenders in FIFA 23, and we're going to go from kind of the low prices to the medium all the way to the high and see what's the best in each price. So we've got the kind of the lower tier at the moment. Obviously, in terms of left backs, we haven't really got many. There's more in the mid, and there is the top of the top in the very expensive. But the right backs are in there. They're few, to be honest. Zinchenko at left back, 47,000. This bracket's between 20 and 50, just so you know. I think he's a solid left back. As a very, very cheap option, he will definitely do. But there is an abundance of left backs we've got. I have also chosen not to try and do too many SBCs. So, for instance, Gossens should be in the list. He is 0 coins technically in the objectives. But if you didn't do him, you can't get him anymore. So he is in there in terms of kind of just being a left back. But I've tried for people that you can actually go and buy if you are still searching for a right back. In terms of, well, left back, for instance. In terms of right backs, Trippier, Frimpong, Molina, Cuadrado, Klaus, and Di Lorenzo, all coming in roughly around the same sort of price. At the moment, Team of the Seasons are a little bit inflated as well, so I can imagine next week, or at least Friday, when we do get Batch of 2, which has meant to have Team of the Seasons in, these should drop down back to their 30-ish thousand coin sort of price tag. So make sure that if you are buying, they will lose a little bit over the next week if you are going into Friday with somebody. Out of my favourite of these, to be honest, is going to be Di Lorenzo, and then followed up by Frimpong. I think the rest of them, I like Trippier, but I must admit I'm much more of a fan of Reece James in my opinion. I think he is a better right back in this scenario, but Trippier definitely did some work when we was in the Premier League Cup. Molina was very much like the showdown card that you could get. I can't even remember his name. It is another Argentinian that you can go get as well. But I do think both of them solid defenders in themselves. If you needed a La Liga right back, they would work. But in terms of kind of what I expect from a right back, I needed that little bit higher. Cuadrado is very much on the attacking side more than anything. So I do think if you are running, say, a Serie A team and wanted a 5-back, that is going to be the better position for him rather than being a standalone right back. But you can go with that Sentinel to increase the defending physical that little bit more, as we do have that 99 pace. And Klaus himself, I was kind of hoping for Hakimi, but unfortunately we've only got the Team of the Year version of him, and Klaus stepped in as the league and right back for Team of the Season. On to the medium sort of price now. This is where we see a lot more of the left backs and a lot less of the right backs as well. Rosalion and Zanetti as the two right backs in this sort of price bracket. We're looking anywhere between 51,000 and 150,000. So this is kind of where everybody is at this moment in time. I'm not a massive fan of Zanetti at right back. I much prefer him in that centre defensive role. I think he does much better in that one, even though he is only 5'10" as well. I always assumed he was that little bit taller, but apparently not. Then I would say Rosalion is going to be my favourite there. In terms of a right back between the pairing, he is definitely the better section of it because he was a left back already. It is a shame that you couldn't go left back, right back with him in the shapeshifter, adding that little bit of versatility if you needed him at the right or obviously on the left as well. Very good pace, defending physicals up there, and a bit more of the 5-star, 4-star, which is just an added little bonus. When we look at the left backs, this is where we get the standard left backs. This is where I would be looking personally at a medium at the very minimum. The top section is expensive, we're not going to say, but there is ways around it. Alphonso Davies would still do you a job right now. Like I said, if he does come in batch 2 rather than his level up, that price will drop down heavily, so always keep your eye on it, especially as we are getting closer to Friday anyway. Nuno Mendes, solid option at the left back, really like him, and also has some great links for all of the Portuguese lads we've got, and also PSG, which is just even better as well. Robertson, that little bit better than Zinchenko in my opinion. Not too much because the 3-3 is most definitely a little bit more on the outdated side now. Even if you just wanted the 5-star weak foot and a 4-star skills, I think that is kind of now the standard really. Balde, love him, 4-star, 4-star, always cheap, always reliable, very quick, and he has got that defensive ability. Very good left back that could stand in and definitely proved a little bit more than Capdevia. I do love Capdevia, and I think it was, I want to say we did have the fantasy foot before, so he did have the 90 Capdevia at that point, and he did push him in that kind of left back role. But Akanbe, beautiful left back, definitely one of the better shapeshifters that you could have got for cheap, and most definitely still an option if you really wanted today. And then we have Ashley Cole. I think, again, another card that is an SBC player, so adds that little bit of value for the untradableness, but I do think they have done Ashley Cole dirty here. Just in general, I feel like he should be higher rated, and I know with fullbacks, they don't necessarily give out too many high rated cards. We very, very rarely see a 96 and above fullback. It has to be something very special, like we will see in a second, but Ashley Cole for me deserves to be higher. I'd like to tell you about skycoach.gg. They offer many features within the FIFA franchise, from FIFA coins to FIFA Weekend League boosts, from trusted sellers, pro players, and are the best prices on the market currently. They have fast delivery, high quality services, lots of games, and also a cashback program. The more coins you buy, the more eligible you are for cashback options. So if you want to buy FIFA coins at the best price, click the link in the description of this video. It will be active promo code for 10% discount from my subscribers. All you have to use is the code JT11 at the checkout to receive this bonus. On to the video. And this is where we get the best of the best. And this is what I'm talking about. We have had, I don't know how many 97 left back or right backs we've had in the past 10, 15 years, whatever we've been on FIFA, but I think he's one of the first, and he's definitely one of his own kind. Cover star icons, brand new. Obviously, we're going to get Ronaldinho tomorrow. Very, very excited about that. But in terms of 97, that is an extraordinary card and my top of the top. Don't get me wrong, there is very, very close options. Alphonso Davies is his 95. If you can't get his 95 by now, his 93 is still available. You've got Theo Hernandez. Absolutely love him. He is my left back at the moment until we finish off Roberto Carlos. Capdevia still coming in at a hefty price. I do think he is slightly past it now in terms of what we're looking at with Theo. You've also got Alba, one of the SBCs that I've thrown in that you unfortunately can't do, but he was a cracking option if you managed to get him done before he did expire. And also Klosterman, 465, nice left back coming from the centre back to that left back side with incredible stats going down that wing, which is always perfect. But left back wise, Roberto Carlos is going to be my number one, followed probably by Theo, because if you haven't done Davies by now, you've only got to go that 93, and I'd much rather go with Theo in my opinion. Right back wise, we've got a star-studded one. We've got Hakimi Team of the Year, Prime Cafu, Shapeshifter Zaha, and also the new Footies Dumfries. In terms of new, I'd always go with Dumfries. He's very, very cheap, and I do think most of them are not necessarily on that massive, massive price rather than Hakimi. But again, if Batch 2 comes out and he's in there, that price will drop down, like we saw with Van der Sar Team of the Year. He went from like 1.2 mil to 500k in a matter of a week. That could happen again, so don't necessarily go out and buy the most expensive, as literally anything can happen now with everything going back into packs in the coming future. So I'm just kind of showing you who's in the top area, and then you can obviously make your adjustments. I personally would go for Dumfries out of the cost at the moment. Zaha's another great option that you can go with. 5-star, 4-star down the wing. The pace is immaculate, as well as the defending physical that does the work as well. But then Cafu is one of them ones that personally is just very, very consistent in that right back role. But Dumfries is going to take it on the right, and Roberto Carlos on the left. Onto the centre backs. So into the first section of centre backs, we've got the cheaper options, and most definitely we will see prices go down very soon. And I feel like at the moment a lot of the centre backs are sitting in that 150 and above sort of range. But in terms of 50k and under, Kalulu's not a bad option for the very, very cheap version. If you've managed to get his 93, then most definitely you've made yourself a nice little extra bonus on top. But even the 91 most definitely isn't an awful option at 32,000 coins. We've got two shapeshifter lads, which I think in terms of shapeshifters, they did really well. From top to bottom, out of positions, goalkeepers out of net, players like Giroud, Dembele from striker to centre-back, they all did very well in their own position. And I think both of them, as a different variety of player, is not a bad option. Maybe they're not my number one option, but again, for what we're looking at, 45 and 37, it's never a bad price. Tomori is probably my favourite out of here. If you did have the 93 Kalulu and you kind of took the price of 32,000, then I would say he would be my number one. But Tomori at 32, with the chance of still going down once batch 3 or batch 2 is here, then that is going to be a cracking card for the price. Bremer, not a bad one. Don't think he's quite worth 50k in my opinion, but like I said, with the team of the seasons at the moment, they are on that inflation price at this moment in time. We have the mid-tier of centre-backs, and this is where we get a few decent ones most definitely. We see Vidic dropping his price massively due to the fact he is in packs at the moment. Same as Nesta, to be honest, 114 and 70 between them. Two very good options if you are looking at icons. Same with Desai, only 120. I don't think they're necessarily top on the list by any shout anymore. Once they did come out in their own respective promo, most definitely Vidic and Nesta were incredible value for what you could get. Now we're looking at footage, shapeshifters, level ups, team of the seasons. They are a little bit behind the curve, but most definitely defensive ability is sensational with them. We have Becker as another shapeshifter. I personally really rate him as a centre-back. He did very, very well during the shapeshifter promo for me, and he's still in the squad, or at least in the club today, and he most definitely has got that pace to play that centre-back role. In terms of team of the seasons, Saliba, Ake, both definitely could come down in price at 60k. I feel like that is more inflation more than anything, as I think they are definitely under 50k value in my opinion. Same with Medina, he's just coming over 52k, so he is only just in this category right now, and Smalling is probably the better one out of the bunch, to be honest. Out of what, 8 of them, I'd say Smalling is my favourite. I do rate probably Ake and Saliba next, but again it goes down to the links personally. Then we have the best of the best. This is the holy grail of centre backs. The only one at the moment that I'm waiting for is a Foot is Hero Lucio. That card, if it's 96 or above, is going to be top. I feel like Maldini at the moment, Maldini, Varane, Kunate at some aspects, but I've not played with him yet. I've kind of got to judge with him, are number one on that centre-back list for me. Same with Virgil as well. But I think Lucio, if he manages to get a +7, +6 upgrade, he will be number one in my opinion. Maldini's definitely number 2. He is an SBC, so if you haven't quite got anybody else on this list, then you can go and do him as an SBC. Koulibaly is obviously an SBC right now as well. Very, very cheap, premium footies, and he's got the stats to prove it. And obviously with Kunate, at the moment he is an objective, so if you are playing your finals, your foot champs, you should be able to get him with 35 wins in champs, which I think it's available for about 5 champs, including the one that's just gone, so you should be able to get it done with an average of around about 7 or 8 wins a time. If you do 11, you'll obviously get it done in 4 weeks, or very, very close in 4 weeks. You'll pretty much be there at 3, but you do need that extra win, so if you can get 12 at some point, that should be absolutely gravy for you. In terms of everybody else, I feel like the kind of team of the seasons one in this list are impeccable as well. Kounde, very, very nice indeed at 370. Diaz is an absolute rock for 250 or 260 now. De Ligt is one of my favourite team of the seasons, most definitely from that Bundesliga. Really did a hell of a job in that centre-back role as a 96. And Militao, Marquinhos. Marquinhos is probably the only one that definitely was under the value of what I thought. I really thought that card would come out and he'd be absolutely cracked, but he was very good, but not on the expectation levels as what I kind of wanted. I really like Kimpembe. Obviously SBCs as well would be in this, but we can't get them, so there's no point putting players in that you might not have got if you can't still get them today. But Militao, one of my favourites as well, still coming in at a mil, which is absolutely insane. Then we have Schweinsteiger at 2.1. I never knew I should wanted a 97 Schweinsteiger until Shapeshifter happened, and what a card that is. He is just an incredible centre-back from centre-mid into that centre-ball. He fits like an absolute glove. But in terms of the centre-backs at the top, I think the back four solidify it. Gomez has always been cracked, and now he's got that 96 version. He is absolutely immense. Maldini is just a clear winner. Varane is always meta, and Virgil is an absolute rock. They are all absolutely impeccable as centre-backs. But I do think anybody on this list, you could mix and match all of them, and they'd all do very well. And I think that's why they are A, the price they are, and B, that is why everybody wants them. So let me know down below your back line. Who are you rocking? Is it a 5-back, 4-back, 3-back? Who's in it? Make sure you like and subscribe on this, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.